Right then, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me in this video. Voiceover again. As you all know, I'm standing in front of the bee box barn that I built. I had a nucleus colony of bees delivered, and I split them half into this hive and half into the observation hive. Unfortunately, the queen was dead on arrival, and emergency cells had been started on some of the frames. The supplier did send me out another queen, which I placed into this bee box barn and destroyed all the existing queen cells. So at this point, I am now checking the bee box barn to see what's happened with the queen. I've also got the microwave brackets there on the brick wall, which is proven to be absolutely brilliant for viewing the frames. So what I've done is, because all the occupied frames are at the hive, there's the queen, the box that the queen comes in. As you can see, it was empty. So I started off by taking the first 18-inch frame out, because all the occupied bees are on normal brood frames at the end, towards the end of the wall. So I took the first frame out so I can prise the frames away from each other and just pull them away from each other and take them out safely without killing anything. So that I've given myself that extra space by taking that first empty frame out that you can see on the brackets. So at this point now, I am literally scanning these frames, and as you will see, they have been doing quite well in starting to build out these 18-inch frames, which I'm very happy about. As you can see there, look, they've started building cone, but I have been feeding them sugar water quite a lot. Not too happy with the feeder. There'll be a separate video coming up, probably after this video, to be fair, about the feeder and what goes on with it. I've not got any smoke going, and I'm just being really gentle and examining these frames. So I'm basically looking for the queen. She has got a green dot. What is it? Thorax? I don't know what it's called on the back of the head, the thorax or whatever it's called. So she should be quite easy to spot. And as you will note as we go through this video, I am having a bit of a problem locating her. Inquiring minds want to know why. So yeah, she should be fairly easy to spot. I mean, you just can't miss an insect running around frames with a green dot on it, can you? As you would have thought. But yeah, they are doing quite well on the on them 18-inch frames, even though I'm still struggling to find the queen. But she's not necessarily going to be on these. She'll be more than likely on the frames that the bees originally came on, which are further to the wall, as I said earlier. But it is nice to see them building these frames out, and they are starting to store the sugar water, which they convert into a honey substitute. This is why when you start going on towards the supers, adding supers, you stop feeding them altogether, because they should be well established by now. Well, they should be well established at the point if you're going to put supers on top, which would basically mean this 10 framed 18-inch deep brood frames, which is basically 20 normal brood frames. Once that's full and you've got a laying queen in there, there's just no reason to be feeding them anyway, because they're already established. But you just feed them to get them going, to get them building that brood area out. Otherwise, you'll never get to the point in the high nectar flow and pollen flow. You'll never get to the point of actually getting any honey off them in the first year, because they've got such a lot to build out. But yeah, here we go. Still searching for that queen. So basically I had that queen in for, I think, 7 or 8 days before I started going back into the hive like I am doing now. So she was in there for 8 days. So you would have thought by now she'd be laying. So I am actually struggling to find her, and I'm not seeing any evidence of larvae or eggs. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it takes a bit of a trained eye to spot the eggs, because they're so small. But after 8 days, if she was accepted into the colony, they'd started building a bit of cone underneath the original frame. That's why I want them to get in onto the 18-inch frames and start abandoning them couple of frames that originally came on towards the end, and then I'm going to take them out and put the 18-inch frames back in that I took out. But I'm scrutinising these frames, and I can't see this little green dot running around, which is the colour for 2024. And I'm not seeing any sign of larvae. I mean, personally, I'm not an expert, but I would have expected to start seeing some little grubs. Start seeing some little grubs in some of the cells by now, but as you can see there, I'm moving a little cluster out the way to see if it's the queen, but I don't think it was. Well, it wasn't. But you can see how this these brackets are absolutely brilliant for examining these frames. Absolutely brilliant they are. And that's the whole point of this bee box barn, is that it's at such a good height and allows you to have a double deep brood box and only have to take 10 frames out instead of taking a box off and checking 20 frames. I'm having to check 10 frames, and I've not got all the lifting and moving of boxes, which is just fantastic. Still searching for that bloody queen. At this point I'm getting slightly concerned. No eggs, no larvae. I definitely would have thought I'd seen some developed pupae in some of the cells by now, but I'm not seeing any sign of anything. Can't find the queen, which is, to say the least, starting to piss me off a little bit now, to be honest. But you can see how good these brackets are above this bee box barn for putting the frames on. Absolutely amazing. I think it's safe to say at this point, I can't see a queen running around anywhere with a green dot on it. Can't see it. Queen cage was empty. And yeah, no sign of her. So I'm assuming I've either missed her. I'm assuming she was. I'm pretty sure she came as a mated queen, so I don't think she's gone out. Whether she's flew off and not come back, or whether they've killed her, I don't know. But I can assure you, I cannot see her. So my plan of action is, my plan of action is to just give it another week and then go back in the hive, see if I can see any other sign. Because, I mean, maybe I've missed her, maybe she was on the floor, but I was looking on the when I got most of the frames out like this, I was looking down, see if I could see her, but I still couldn't see her. But queens are not always the easiest things to spot, are they? I think at this point I'm just going over all the frames again. But I definitely cannot see any eggs, any larvae, and any sign of the queen, which I'm not happy about. I have got a couple of options that I'm going to try. One of them is I could get a new queen ordered in, and there is a frame you can buy, and it's made out of galvanised metal, and you put a brood frame in it that's drawn out, and you put the queen inside that. What do they call it? It's like a queen introductory cage or something, I think it's called. You can buy them about 45 quid. Just put a frame in that's drawn out. Put your new queen in the plastic container in there, and she basically can't get out, and she should start laying on that frame that's drawn out. I've got that option and another option to consider. But if you've got any ideas, let me know in the comments if you would. But I'm assuming she's either not been accepted and killed and tossed out the hive somewhere, or she's gone out and thought, sod this, I'm not filling all these frames with eggs, I'll be knackered, and decided to do one. So, yeah, not very happy at this point, and this is 8 days later, like I said. I mean, bonus, they're drawing all the frames out. The 18-inch frames starting to build a cone on now, which is what I was after. But I kind of thought I'd have spotted her. But I haven't. Boring, honestly. Well, what can you do? It is what it is, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, when it's all buzzing, so to speak, and there's a laying queen in there, that's going to be one hell of a hive, that is. But I was disappointed that I paid 350 quid from yours truly, the supplier, and the queen comes dead. So that newt was obviously not checked, or I would have thought was not checked properly. Like they basically said every hive, every nucleus is checked before it goes out. I don't think it was, because of the spotted queen cells, weren't there? Which would have meant the queen was dead. Okay, he sent me one out immediately. But if you got no one to take receipt of the queen, you got to have another day off work, ain't you? That's the problem. And here I am putting all the frames back the way they were and checking them again. But no eggs, no larvae, no queen to be seen. But like I say, I'll give it another week and go back in. I mean, this was done on a Saturday morning, so I'll do it on the following weekend when I'm not at work and have another look. bonus that they're building all the frames out, I suppose, ready. No smoke, not getting attacked by the bees, very calm bees, which is nice. Mind you, the bees actually have come from an F1 Buckfast queen, so artificially inseminated as far as I'm aware. That's a mad thing to watch on YouTube, how to do that. Artificially impregnate the queen bees. Crazy to see that. But yeah, putting all the frames back in, I do believe now. I say do believe because I'm doing voiceover and there's a great big bloody record and stop sign in the middle of the video, so I'm struggling to see what I'm talking about. But if you got a bit of carpentry skills, building one of these hives that I've built here is definitely the way forward. I mean, that hive can be sitting there for a decade or more, would have thought. So yeah, and this is just at the side of my shed. This is all at the side of my shed. Just got enough room to do what I need to do without struggling for space like I'm doing inside the shed with me hive number 1, which is me Chinese flower hive, which I'm going to replace with one of these hives next spring. So over winter period I'll probably build another one and get it all ready to exchange next spring 2025. I think here I'm just pushing the frames slowly back in to the original position. But that's why I took the first frame out nearest to me, the 18-inch frame. Just give myself space to pull the frames apart before I take them out, because that's where apparently you can roll the queen. So that's the reason for taking one frame out first at the end where the stores are normally stored, because it's less likely to have the queen on the stores right at the end of the frame. She'll be in the middle somewhere. So by taking that frame that's hanging on the brackets out, gives me space to part them and lift them out safely. Bear that in mind, guys. That's quite important to do that. What am I doing here? Pushing the frames together, I think. Yeah, that's basically it. No queen, no eggs, nothing as far as I can see at the moment. Just putting that last frame back in, which has got literally nothing on it. Yep. Just making sure they've got equal spacing between them. Because that couple of mil spacing between each frame does actually make up a gap of one frame. That's why it's important to have that gap. So it makes it easier to take the frames out. But yeah. And that's me done. Disappointed, to say the least. Queen excluder's going back on. Not that I didn't find her, so that's that. And I'm not putting the feeder back on for obvious reasons. If you watch the next video, what I've done, I've bought some pollen patty here, and that's the stuff I got. About 12 quid for 2 kgs, I think. Only contains 7% pollen though. Be careful of that. Read it. Some of them only got 3% pollen in. Which, yeah, you think there'd be a bit more than that, wouldn't you? Thought it'd be 50-50 at least. Just taking any remnants of bees off this liquid feeder. I mean, you can put that back on and put the pollen patty in the middle and let them come in and get it like that if you want. But there didn't seem much point because the lid has got a bit of an indentation in it, which allows you to put a fondant pack on or a pollen patty pack on. Just getting the 1 or 2 bees off. There. So on the pollen patty, what I did was cut a square out and place it over the top of the queen excluder, so they'll come up between the gaps and start munching away inside. Put it in the middle, put the lid back on, and put a brick on the top. Because it is polystyrene, I just find it easier to put a brick on than try and strap it up every time. Probably strap it up when there's loads of supers on it, but at the minute a brick will suffice. So yeah, I'll be probably doing another video in about a week's time to see if I can find the queen.